My 11-year-old sister became obsessed with Hitler after I bought her a World War II documentary for her birthday. When I came home from college, I found a 6-year-old girl from next door tied up in her closet because she was training her to be Anne Frank. On my little sister Tulika's 11th birthday, I got her a gift. It was Hitler, or more specifically, a documentary about Hitler. You see, she had severe ADHD and hyperfixation, so World War II content was her newest phase. At first, Tulika's focus on the Jews made me proud. Over Christmas break, she'd sit her butt on the couch and watch 14 hours straight of theories, real footage, interviews, the works. She only stood up to change her tampon or take a shitty. Mom would bring her sandwiches, stroking her hair, saying, "My little historian." Little did we know this was the calm before the storm, because one afternoon, when I went into her room to remind her to feed the cat, I saw something so crazy I almost called myself. Her legs were spread while she hunched over her desk, surrounded by notebooks, drawing detailed battle strategies, maps covered in red X's marking enemy positions. "Tulika, this is a little weird. Shut the F up and check this out," she interrupted. "All the historians do this, and I'm gonna be one." I wanted to slap her and tell her to touch grass, but instead, I just nodded, because it was still an upgrade from when she used to spend all day gooning while playing Mario Kart. When I left for college, I figured she'd be okay. I wish I'd known that it was the last time I'd ever see her again, because the girl I returned home to wasn't my sister, for the most part anyway. The first thing that hit me was the smell when I opened her door. Musty military surplus mixed with something else. Maps covered every inch of wall space. Red strings connected pins like some detective's crime board, and Tulika sat in the center wearing a full military uniform, clearly unwashed for days. I would have rather dipped my own hand into the butthole of a crackhead than hug her. Mom pulled me aside, tears in her eyes. "She's scaring the other children." I don't blame them, I wanted to say, but I knew that wouldn't help my mom, so I just wrapped my arm around her and nodded slowly. Later that week, Mom finally snapped and took Tulika's German dictionary during her study time. I heard the crash from downstairs as Tulika's fist went through the wall. "You just ruined my translation!" she screamed. I ran upstairs to find Mom pressed against the hallway, clutching the book while Tulika stood over her like she was ready to murder. After that, Tulika installed a lock on her door. I tried talking to her, but she barely opened it. When I pushed to see inside, she slammed it shut. My fingers barely escaped. "You don't visit enough to have opinions," she hissed through the crack. "I'm going to be a military historian, just like we planned. Or did you forget you encouraged this?" I left, but the guilt ate me alive. 2 weeks later, I came back with a peace offering. Rare World War II artifacts I'd bought online, thinking maybe we could bond over history again. When I entered the house, everything felt wrong. The entire house was silent, other than the sound of a silent moaning sound coming from Tulika's room. "Mom!" I called out. Nothing. Suddenly, Tulika ran down the stairs to show me the living room. She'd moved her entire war room there. Maps and photos covered the walls. "Why did you come down here?" I asked. She didn't look up from her notebook. "My room's being fumigated. Don't go up there." Her voice was flat, mechanical. "Where's Mom?" She shrugged. "Who knows? Maybe she's visiting Grandma, just like you visited me." I frowned, uneasy, but something in my gut screamed wrong. While she was absorbed in her books, I slipped upstairs to her old room. The smell hit me immediately. Sweet and chemical, like someone had dumped cleaning supplies to mask something worse. Suddenly, everything made sense, because in the closet, behind Tulika's false wall, was the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen. 6-year-old Sophie from next door, dehydrated, barely conscious, with duct tape over her mouth. She'd soiled herself what looked like multiple times. "What the actual F?" I screamed while grabbing her and running for the stairs, but Tulika was already there, holding a replica shotgun I'd bought her for Christmas. "Step away from Anne Frank. She's learning survival." Her eyes were empty. I shielded Sophie, and